I think entrepreneurship's the same way, is it's this incredibly intimidating thing at first, that once you start just doing a little bit of it and then a little more of it and a little more of it, next thing you know, you're an entrepreneur, like you're doing it. And that thing that seems so scary and intimidating is now second nature to you. And you're doing something that you're passionate about, that makes you happy, that fills you up.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Tiffany Alexander, and this is Unveiling Journeys. Man, let me just tell you a little bit about me. I'm happy you're here. I love absolutely people. I love people. I love getting to know more people, and that ends up being like the power of networking. And quite honestly, when I meet really cool people, I always just ask, "Hey, you are so cool. How do I get to know more cool people just like you?" And if you're thinking, Tiff, I don't know that many cool people, just say, "Hey, you are a joy. How do I get to know way cooler people?" You just never know how you want to ask. But in that, I I cannot contain the amazingness of all the people that I get to meet, and that's why the show was born. So I get to meet and hang out and chill and microphone some of the neatest ideas and companies and etc. So with that, I'm going to bring on my guest today, Alex. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for your time. I know that this is long overdue in the making for us to hang out together. We get together when we can, when our schedules work. So do me a favor, tell me and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you are up to right now.
Absolutely. So I am Alex Smereczniak. It's easier to pronounce than it looks. But I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love building things. I love startups. I love tricky problems. And I'm currently working on this company behind me, Franzy, which is a Zillow-like marketplace for buying and selling franchise businesses. So if you ever, for the first time wanted to decide to buy a business, or it's your 20th time doing it and you're just trying to add another chicken concept to your existing portfolio of restaurants, Franzy's the place for you to go. Do that diligence, find the right lender, get franchise advisory and coaching, find the right franchise CPA, all those things you need to do when you buy a business. That's what Franzy provides. And that's what I've been pouring, my 80 hours a week into recently.
Oh my gosh, I love this concept because you were telling me previously that there's almost like a little bit of a bias when you go to someone that's like a, and we don't want to step on anybody's toes, but there's like a preference, right? Like, oh, we should go with this guy instead of this guy. And you're like, I just want to level the playing field. I want everybody to have like equal access to make that decision for themselves and have a marketplace. And you don't really just invent it up, you're doing it. And I love the content that you put on LinkedIn because it's showing like real data, like facts of what people that have gotten into something and what it's working for them, and to give these people the idea of like, oh man, maybe I should consider all this stuff. And so I'm excited when somebody comes out with something like this. So that's why I was like, people need to know because I mean, I'm sure you know the stats of all the people who are like, I should have a franchise. Why not step into a proven system, something that already makes sense without having to reinvent the wheel? Like, it's stunning.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it until I got into it, but franchising is such a safer, de-risked way to get into entrepreneurship. Over a 5-year period, a franchise business has an 85% success rate versus a 50% failure rate of an independent business. And the more you peel back layers of the onion, you start to realize there's something out there for everyone. And if you really, hate your job or you want to go do the next thing, like there are a lot of accessible things, and entrepreneurship's changed my life. So how do we help other people have that same experience in a way that's thoughtful, calculated, data driven, de-risked, et cetera? And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is I want to help others have the same experience I've had.
I love that. It is incredible. I can't get enough of it. But let's do this. Let's unveil your journey and let's start from the beginning. Let's do a full circle back. Tell me, like, where are you from and what did you want to be when you grew up? And we'll take it from there.
So I was born on a stormy Friday. No, I'm kidding. Tiffany and I were joking about that. I'm from Red Wing, Minnesota originally, and my co-founder, of my last business, used to tease me because I would say, "Oh, I'd say Red Wing," and he was like, "Why don't you just say Minneapolis? No one knows what Red Wing is." And I would ask people, have you heard of Red Wing shoes or Red Wing boots before? And like 8 or 9 out of 10 people know what it is. And I'm like, yes, all right, I'm from the town that they're headquartered in. It is a small town, 15,000 people, but that's where my humble beginnings, began. And I ended up down in Charlotte, North Carolina for school. I wanted to get the heck out of 6 months of frozen tundra. And I loved basketball at the time. And it's funny the decisions you make as a 17-year-old. Like, I'm going to go to a school that has a good basketball program. So I went to Wake Forest. That's where I got into entrepreneurship. Worked for originally a student run laundry and dry cleaning pickup and delivery business as a bag runner, just running dirty clothes from campus to laundromats off campus. And I fell in love with it. I was like, this could work at Duke and Chapel Hill and Vanderbilt and all these other schools. These guys are seniors that are graduating. I want to buy it. I knew nothing about buying a business, what a discounted cash flow analysis is, or what a earnout is, or seller financing. And so I go to the finance professors and I'm like, I want to do this. I don't know what I'm doing though. Can you help me? And like anything in life, I think if you reach out thoughtfully for help, people want to help you because someone helped them at some point, in their journey, in their career. And so all these professors were super giving. I ended up buying the business with two other partners my freshman year. So I'm 18 years old. And we ended up 10xing the revenue in our first year. It became this like awesome resume builder, but we were actually making legitimate real money, 70% margin. I was hooked on entrepreneurship at that point. It was like this mini game. Every day was this new challenge you could solve. Every day was different. And I loved how fast paced it was and just different than the structure I would think I was used to my whole life of like go to class at 8 a.m. and you're done with class at 3 and then go do sports. It was just all this structure's not bad, but it was too much for me. I liked the like Wild West and creative problem solving. And so we sold that business when I graduated. I still went and did like the big boy or adult job thing for a little while. I worked for Ernst and Young for a year and a half and thought, oh, it's consulting. I'll jump from project to project. It'll be entrepreneurial. It'll be great. And I do it and I hate it.
Well,
I'm like,
but,
this
like, what
isn't
did they have
entre
you do? Like, was it, like, finance world?
it was financial services consulting. So I'm like going into Bank of America, going into Wells Fargo, and like, how do we make this function more efficient? And wearing my suit all day and sweating, through my clothes and just I don't know. I wasn't as fulfilled. I wasn't as happy doing it. And I was good at it and I liked the people I loved the people I worked with. I met a lot of really great people and I still was learning a lot. I just like would go home and like I could tell my upside was capped. Like I didn't need to work any harder than I was working. I got a 5-star review at the end of my first year, which was like the top 5% of people in my peer group got. So like I figured out the system of like how do I do the least amount of work but get the highest, rating. And that felt backwards to me. I was like, I don't want a career where I'm like gaming it to work the least amount possible to get the I was like, I want to be in this uncapped world where my direct, effort and thoughtful decision making, et cetera, is rewarded or penalized if I make the wrong decisions or don't work hard enough. Like I need to be in that environment. I got the taste of that in college doing that entrepreneur, the business. And I was like, I need to do that again. And so this was 2014, 2015, when you were seeing all the Uber for X businesses pop up, like Instacart and Shipt and Wag and Rover, all these like on demand, convenience oriented things. And I thought, everyone hates laundry. Someone's going to do what I did in college on a bigger scale. And if I see someone else do this and it's not me, I am going to hate myself for a long, long time. And so I quit my job at EY. I started a company in Charlotte called 2U Laundry. Terrible name, but I was 23, 24 at the time, trying to come up with the right name. But it was another on demand laundry and dry cleaning delivery business. And so we started in January 2016. Over the course of an 8-year period, we end up raising $33 million in venture capital. We launched a dozen or so cities.
In laundry?
We
Wait.
laundry
Well,
and dry
well,
cleaning.
this is fantastic because I don't think you even knew it was gonna go this big, but you did. Like, you did, right?
So kind of a bit of both. Like the funniest thing was our first year, I think we did like 350,000 in revenue. And I remember being like kind of pissed about it because in the college business, we did 250 grand in 2 weeks. Granted, it was just for the whole school year, for the whole semester up front. But in my head, I'm like, I'm used to like all this big influx of cash. And, we were doing like 10K a month and then 20K a month and then 40K a month in the 2U laundry business. And that's what felt slow to me because my frame of reference was this college thing that we just kind of exploded. But that was this controlled environment, lightning in a bottle. We had this really captive audience. That's not normal, but in my head, that's what was normal. And so I remember at first being like, "Oh, this is so slow. This is so bad." Which in hindsight, I'm glad I had that attitude of like more, let's go, like next brick wall to drive through. But and knowing what I know now, like that was a phenomenal first few months. That ramp was incredible. Most startups never do that quickly, and so I've started to get a little bit more, like patient with myself and our team as far as like, hey, it's okay if we're not this like top tenth of a percent company out of the gate. Like we don't need to be that. Let's just go build a good business. So to your point, like that part of me was like, oh, I wanted more. I know this can be more, and at the same time, reflecting back, realizing hey, as long as you get started, that's half the battle, and then keep iterating and working on top of it. Yeah, we are like, I mean, a lot of labor of love over 8 years. Grew to about 17 million in annual revenue in 2018, and we were moonlighting out of other people's laundromats, doing the laundry at first, all delivery, going
Okay.
in at like 10 p.m. till 6 in the morning, having a team there, washing, drying, folding, sorting, staging it, getting it ready to go back to your home. 24-hour turnaround.
Wow.
And it was a absolute grind. When we started, we had 5 guys living in a 3-bedroom apartment. It was my mattress, my co-founder's mattress next to me, and then a buddy that just tagged along from Minnesota to come be our first delivery driver. His mattress was at, the foot of our bed, basically. And we did that for 10 months. Uh, Drove Uber in the morning to make sure that we could pay this collective bill that we had now for rent and whatnot, and we really kind of just bulldogged our way through the first 2 years and eventually broke through and started to raise outside capital to go pay ourselves a little bit more money to hire, a good team. And then in 2018, we started vertically integrating and building physical laundromats to handle all of the pickup and delivery volume that we were doing.
And these are
And
like
that
really
was
private, right? Your own, because like you need all of that all the time.
the thing that was interesting is like big commercial launderers that are doing like hotel linens and uniforms, they're dumping everyone's, all the stuff together versus we need to keep Tiffany's stuff separate from Alex's. And so we needed like smaller batch cleaning, which mom and pop coin laundromats have. They've got 40 plus washers and dryers, 40 dryers. And so we needed to use that type of equipment. And so we thought if we're going to invest in having this type of equipment here, why not open it up to the public when our delivery business isn't as busy, which was weekends. We only delivered Monday through Friday because it was just more operationally efficient. And most people actually didn't care. Laundry's not this like, it's not like food or ride sharing. We're like, I got to go to the airport. I need a ride now. Or crap, we didn't make dinner. We need something hot and we need it in the next 30 minutes. Like, I need the food now. How often are you at home, like looking at your pile of laundry, like, I need all this done in the next 30 minutes? Like, maybe there are
Yeah,
times, maybe.
I'll go on vacation. No, for no. You're right.
Usually it's just, I don't want to do it. Like, I have this pile, it's building up. I've been looking at it for the last 4 or 5 days. Like, I just don't want to do it. And I don't want to get it started because I know it means I have to fold eventually. That's the part everyone hates is folding. And so it's this need, but it's not an immediate need. So we could do it more schedule based. So we only did pickups Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday when laundromats would be busiest because people aren't working, as often Saturday and Sunday, we would open up these roll-up doors. We had the largest laundromat in North Carolina, and then Monday through Friday, we'd shut some of the roll-up doors down, and half the store was open to the public, and the other half was left for production for all of the pickup and delivery. So we're like, oh my gosh, we're so clever. We figured this out. We partner with Electrolux. It is going gangbusters. And we realized we need to start building a lot more laundromats, but they are not cheap. They're a million plus to build. How are we going to scale hundreds of these locations without raising a ton of money and giving up a ton of the company, which we didn't want to do, or this taking 30 years, which don't get me wrong, it would have been a fun journey, but Dan and I didn't want to be the laundry guys forever. And so we're like, we got to speed this up. What can we do? And our answer was, well, we've been approached numerous times to franchise the business. What if we franchise the brick and mortar piece? We bring capital partners on that can open laundromats with us. They handle that labor that's local within the 4 walls. And then we provide all the value of discounts on equipment and know-how on the construction, the architecture, design, but we bring them all this delivery volume as well. Like they have this built-in revenue stream from the delivery business that we'll manage on their behalf. We'll manage the drivers, the trucks, the marketing, the customer service, et cetera. They just need to clean the orders as soon as they get within their 4 walls. very similar to what Postmates or DoorDash did, with any quick service restaurant franchise. It's like, all right, that's the model. Let's go try it. We know nothing about franchising. And this is what I love about entrepreneurship is, all right, problem presents itself. Let's just go learn and crash course and ask people who do know if they'll give us advice and help and feedback. It was just a blast. I mean, so much fun. In 2021, we started franchising a subsidiary called Laundrelab, and we sold 118 locations in 14 months. People wanted it. They loved the brand. They loved the idea. And then we had to go get them open. We're like, holy crap, we just sold a bunch of them. But now we have to have a team doing site selection and construction and marketing and training and operations. We're like, all right, let's pause sales for a little bit because we've sold more than we, I think, intended. And so then we focused on, having to build that out from there. But that's where, I really got exposed to the world of franchising and just realizing how big it is, how much of our economy it is. It's 8% of our country's GDP. And it's not just McDonald's and Subway, it's health and wellness, it's home services, it's early childhood development and education. I mean, it's everything. And that's where this idea for, Franzy came was how do we help more people discover franchising, find the right fit, but also not have this middleman taking a 60% commission because that's what we found was happening working with different, brokers and business brokers. And I have friends that are business brokers, like you said, not to step on anyone's toes, but it was the Wild West and you'd see all this commission going out the door. And I thought, is there a way to democratize this process, put all the brands in one spot, all the data in one spot, all the due diligence tools and services that you need in one spot so that this becomes much more accessible, less overwhelming, less intimidating, so that the next wave of people can have the same fun that I've had the last 10 years building these companies and learning more than I ever would have imagined, just rolling up my sleeves and learning and getting to work.
I love that so much because I consider the numbers of if you can I hate to say, like, cut out the guy, but, I mean, we're kinda going to some avenues of how that works in multiple other businesses, but that just leaves it more to the little guy that is going to be moving America. I mean, like, some um, couple, some individuals, some single, they are coming to create a franchise and they need all of that money to go pour right back into their business so maybe they can have a second or a third. And so I think just the more money left on the table ensures their pockets hopefully will be able to get them to where they need to go in their business and have the ability to put that back or have a second or have a third. So I
Mhm.
love that you really almost had to be selfless to create this because you're like, well, you could get commissions from here forward to like put people into franchises and do all that busy work. But you're like, wait a minute, why don't we just leave more money on the table for everybody at this point that are
It
on both
should
ends?
create our bet is that by doing that, it'll create this self kind of fulfilling positive cycle. It might mean more volume of deals for us, and so we make up for it in volume, and the technology we've built allows us to do it more efficiently, so we don't have as much marketing cost or as much people cost on our team because of the platform that we've built. And you're exactly right. Like, one of the things that handicapped us a little bit when we were selling licenses was paying these huge commissions because that 60% commission is paid by the brand. So if Tiffany, if you came through a broker, let's say your franchise fee was $100,000, you typically pay that to the brand for the right to develop 3 or 4 units or territories. So you now can build these laundromats, 4 of them, let's say in Charlotte. And you think, oh, well, that 100K will go back into training and marketing for me. And so even though yes, it's a large sum of money, but I now have the rights to these four. Plus, I know the brand is going to reinvest it into things that are going to support me. You're actually never told by anyone that 60K of that 100K is going out the door 3 days later to someone that isn't going to add more value to the system or the brand or your experience. And that's where I was like, huh, people aren't being disclosed this, which is, I don't know, doesn't feel great. There's no regulation either. Like you and I can be a franchise broker in this moment on this call versus real estate. You have to go get licensed and you have to get, coursework done and there's disclosures you have to make. This was like Wild West. And so I was like, the fact that there isn't, full alignment there isn't transparency. Some of these individuals might have bought other brands instead. And these brands, again, if there was another alternative, would probably try to sell through a different avenue where more of that fee came into their pocket so that they could again invest in their team and their technology and their marketing. and enable more of those franchisees, to your point, to be successful, to open their second location, to get all the adequate resources they need to be successful. And so in my eyes, it's like if you fix that problem, you unlock maybe this whole wave of new entrepreneurs and new brands that end up working because the incentives are further or better aligned than they have been historically.
I love that because I mean, already knowing it's like I didn't realize it was even as high as 60% because I've researched it, but it's like a 2 for 1. Like, imagine, hey, you thought you were gonna get what you got right now, but we get a 2 for 1 special if you just go and do it a different way.
Yep.
And it would double your profits, right? Oh my goodness.
Yep.
This is phenomenal. But I wanna ask you, like, you created all this stuff and it's led you to here. Um, why why do you keep showing up? Why do you keep caring about all the people that you did all this for?
I think when I first got exposed to entrepreneurship, well, I guess two reasons. One thing my dad always taught me when I was younger is there's three kinds of careers you can have. You can either work for someone else, you can work for yourself, so sales, most my dad was a financial advisor, or you can have people working for you. And he's like, you want to be in the last two buckets. Like if your goal is financial freedom as well as flexibility in your own time, like your own hours and how you work. He's like, if you work for someone else, you're likely going to have your life dictated by a 40-hour work week. And like for some people that's okay and that's fine and they're comfortable with that. He's like, but if you want to have the freedom that, because I asked him a question, I was like, how are you able to golf in the summer? And it seems like kind of work when you want, but then in this winter and fall, as this is Minnesota again, it's cold, there's nothing to do. I was like, you work your butt off. And he's like, it's because I'm, in one of those last two buckets. So that always stuck with me as a desire to be entrepreneurial and be my own boss and have that flexibility. But the more emotional reason for me was getting exposed to entrepreneurship in college. It really did change my life. Like I learned more doing that than any class I took at Wake Forest. And I was totally that kid that was like, get good grades in high school so that I can get into a good college and then get good grades again so that I can get my big boy job at a Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 company. And that's going to be my life. Like that's what I was just thought was expected of me and what I should go do. And doing that dirty college laundry business completely opened my eyes to, hey, this is fun. Work doesn't have to be a thing you have to do. It can be this thing you enjoy doing and love doing and get fulfillment out of and challenge out of and energy and excitement and learning out of. And after experiencing it, I was like, everyone needs to know about this and everyone needs to do it. And so that's what's driving me now is I want to help create the next 1 million entrepreneurs in the United States. And if Franzy can help enable that and help with resales and finding the right brand, that's what we're here for and that's what I want to do.
Love that you have, like, even a number to it. I just see, like, this checkbox of, like, "Alright, we did number 267, 268, two," like, all the way up to 1,000,000, we're gonna and then people that are doing multiple boxes at the same time when they can just get a bunch of franchises. Oh my gosh, I love your heart in this. Okay, at this point, people are thinking, like, "Alright, I wanna know who you are. Can I how do you want people to come find you so they can inquire and learn more?"
Yeah, so a couple ways. Like we're very educational on social media. So on Instagram, TikTok, X or Twitter, I'm Alex from Franzy is the handle name, and we're constantly doing interesting business breakdowns, how to get into business ownership, or just like fun, interesting things. Like Magic Johnson was the first and only Starbucks franchisee, and like that's a crazy, interesting story of how that happened. And like so, we do things like that. You can also follow me on LinkedIn for more content as well. It's Alex, and then my hard to spell and pronounce last name Smereczniak. And I also want to be a resource for people like many others before have been resources for me. So email me at alex@franzy.com. That's my actual email. Happy to be a sounding board and a resource for anyone that thoughtfully reaches out and has specific questions or things that I can help be a resource for.
Oh my gosh, I love your heart. I love how generous you are because you had that on the way up, and it is true. It's like, just ask, like, and if you they say no, like, keep asking. You just never know who's gonna be able to step up and say yes and give you that nugget.
We I I had a mentor early on say, if some of the best advice they gave me was if you reach out thoughtfully, you'll be amazed by the caliber and quality of person that will respond back, no matter how busy they are, how successful, or how wealthy, or how whatever it is that they are. And I've had like people like Mark Cuban reply to me. I've had celebrities like Ashton Kutcher, like random things where we were like, hey, It was the right messaging. It was very clear what we needed. I did my homework on them and what would maybe make them, feel inclined to respond, and it works. Like if you now, if you reach out like, "Hey, how am I going to get rich?" or can you do this for me?" And like it's just like there's no context. If you reach out thoughtfully with, "Here's my backstory. Here's why this is important to me. Here's why I'm going all in on it. I'm willing to do the work. I understand there's no shortcuts. There isn't any cut corners thing here. I'm just looking for guidance because I believe that you're one of the best people in the world to have ever done this, and I would love your input on this very specific question I have." They will do it 9 times out of 10. And so I encourage people to reach out thoughtfully, and you'll be amazed by how willing people are to help you.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic advice. Okay, 2 more questions left. What do you wanna tell us anything exciting? Like, what's on the horizon?
Yeah, so we are building a big resale platform. So right now, Franzy helps people find new businesses to buy, like ground up builds or a new territory of a brand that you're buying into. The resale platform will allow us to sell existing concepts. So if Tiffany says, "I don't want to build a Dave's Hot Chicken from scratch, I want to buy 3 of them in Cincinnati that are already running," we'll have those resale opportunities listed on the platform so that you can kind of choose your menu option. Do you want to start, from scratch? Or some people do. They want to have full say over how it's built and the site and how it's designed. And some resales have hair on them, and there's some things you got to look out for. Others are like, "I'll look for the hair. I'll pay for the premium. I want a turnaround business, and I want the customers built in, et cetera." So the resale marketplace is something we're very excited about. Brands are very excited about it because it provides liquidity to their franchisees when they want to sell in 7 years because they're just burnt out, they're tired, or whatever it may be. And there's new energy that wants to buy an existing business. We have that, platform to help facilitate that. And that should be live here in the next, 3 to 6 months.
That's so exciting. Alright, we need like a little mini snippet the next time that you have that go live so we can tell more people about it. Obviously, you're crushing it. So but this is phenomenal because this is I can't like, when you say it out loud, it makes so much sense, but it doesn't make sense why it hasn't been invented yet. Like, what the heck? Why like, the fact that you put this all together and it does logically make so much sense, this is, even more exciting. It's like, "What? We gotta get on this."
I'm hoping it's one of those ideas in hindsight, like all these, why did we think of that? And like there are some flavors of what we're doing out there. Like there's Biz Buy Sell, there's a few marketplaces, but I don't think there's any like built to suit. Like this is purpose built end to end. It has all the train stops I need to make along the way. I have to get my entity formed. I need to get financing. I have to find a CPA. All that stuff that takes time and honestly compounds and is overwhelming to people. And our goal is let's take that stuff away for the most part and let's get you focused on the hard part, which is making the leap. I mean, it's so hard to go bet on yourself and to take that risk to leave the 9 to 5, to leave what's familiar, to leave what's comfortable, and to go do something like this. So that's for that franchise first timer. And same for the multi-unit folks that have been doing this for 20 years. They're also trying to just run their business, and finding the next concept is important to them. But we want to help streamline and make more efficient finding the next hot concept, getting them into it, getting them the deal done, and also some of those resources that they might be burnt out on or don't have enough of. We want to connect them to.
Oh, this is, like, stunning. I get so excited about how awesome this is. I've never even had a franchise, but, like, the idea of it is phenomenal. It's like a walk-in. They figured it all out, and I don't have to invent it all from scratch. So, okay, let's do this. Last question. What is, even though you've already given some amazing pieces of advice, what's the last nugget or piece of advice you want to leave everyone with?
Yeah, I know it's definitely cliche, but like Nike nailed it. I always say it's like just do it. If you've ever thought like I'm miserable in this position in my life, doing more of that over and over isn't going to bring you happiness or change your environment. I think it's change what you're doing. And if you've had this inclination of like I've always wanted to do this, but like go just have the conversations. The analogy I use is like working out. A lot of people are like that seems like too much work or it's intimidating. I go into the gym, there's all these people that are strong and fit and I'm not yet, so I'm just going to avoid it. And my advice is like go into the gym and just do 10 minutes on the treadmill, and then the next day do 12, and then do 16. And next thing you know, you're one of those people using all the equipment and you're talking to everyone and you're like, the confidence is there. I think entrepreneurship's the same way. Is it's this incredibly intimidating thing at first. that once you start just doing a little bit of it and then a little more of it and a little more of it, next thing you know, you're an entrepreneur, like you're doing it. And that thing that seems so scary and intimidating is now second nature to you. And you're doing something that you're passionate about, that makes you happy, that fills you up. And again, my goal is to help more and more people do that and overcome that fear.
That's awesome. I have one more little extra baby step in that. If you're like, I don't even know how to have the ability to walk into the gym to get started for 10 minutes, put your gym shoes next to the door. And that's going to be you going onto the website on Franzy and figuring out what looks like good before you make any move forward decisions. So it's like you got to psych yourself out to even get yourself to the gym. So that's what you're going to do through Franzy.
I love that. Yeah, check Franzy's free. Like all these calls with us, we have people on our team that are franchise coaches. They own franchises themselves. We talk to you for free. Like there's nothing too good to be true. We get paid from the brand, we get paid from lenders, we get paid from professional service providers. Like that's how we make money. And it's the same across the board. So we have no incentive to promote one individual over the other. And so yeah, go use the free resources. We have the biggest data set in franchising that's ever been built. Go play, tinker, explore. You never know, maybe something jumps out and it changes your life.
I love it. You are a stunning human. I'm so glad that we got to meet in networking. And I'm so excited for all the stuff that you're moving forward into. Thank you for your time again today. This has been wonderful. And thank you, everybody, for staying. I know you got some fantastic nuggets, and you're going to go reach out to Alex and follow all of his channels because his stuff is not just like franchise stuff, but all the stats and the business and the stories and all the above. So his channels are very fun to listen in on. And then I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Hang out, and we'll see you on another episode. Bye for now.